Hello.
Stop it.
Wait, I was just saying hi. Welcome to the Bible Study Girl podcast. This is Sarita, also known as Bible Study Girl. And you guys are in for a fantastic treat. I'm here with the executive producer of this show, Bible Study Brother.
What's good, people? It's your boy Chris Gray, also known as Bible Study Brother.
And guess what, guys? Dun, 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 dun. It's a very special day because it's our anniversary. Yeah, anniversary. Bible Study Brother and I are celebrating our 6-month anniversary of podcasting. This little baby is now able to turn over, enjoys tummy time.
What?
We're not ready to walk yet, but we're strengthening our core so that we can use all of our extremities. We're babbling. We're growing up.
We're grabbing at things.
We're not. Yeah, we are. We've got great eye contact. Got the little babbles going on. We're cooing.
Okay.
Okay.
It's our anniversary. 6 months.
6-month anniversary. I'm so excited. I really am. And I'm really excited because I could not have imagined that we would get through 6 months of podcasting when we started. Because this was such like a huge deal. Big thing.
Wait a minute. Never mind.
Your maths.
My maths.
We'll do your maths off air.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, we'll do the maths.
I'll do your math because you every time you're like, wait, is it? Like, no, this is.
I was so bad the other day. Like, it was terrible.
You were like, no, that's 5. No, let's break this down.
This is this.
Yes. Okay.
Like,
yes.
It's terrible. Like, when I have to put stuff in context, oh my God. Like, I can do math and I'm good at.
Can you do the math?
I can do the math.
Okay. I was concerned. I was concerned when we were talking about this anniversary, like, because you wanted to beat me down. But it's 6 months, guys. 6 months has come and gone.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So we wanted to talk to you guys about how important the podcast has been to us and our personal lives, what this journey has meant to us, where we see the Bible Study Girl podcast going and growing. Because right now we're on our tummies doing our tummy time. We're trying to creep and crawl. Let me tell y'all something. When we were
stop.
No, I can't. You can't. I literally cannot.
You cannot even.
I cannot stop. We were talking about y'all. This is hilarious. My brother was a late walker.
Yeah.
An extremely late walker.
You're rude. You don't even have to do this.
Okay, I'm not going to say when you started walking.
I'll tell them because, I'm not ashamed of my walk. I was 2.
You were not 2, but you were closer.
It was
you were
late 1.
You were late.
Late 1.
And it's not that there was anything developmentally wrong with it.
I just understood if y'all going to carry me somewhere, I'm going to let you carry me.
I'm going. Yeah, and that really literally was the problem because they took him to the doctor. They're like, no, something's wrong with this boy. And they're like, actually, developmentally, no. Like, gonna have to make him walk. Like, that's where we are with this.
Just like, no, I mean.
So he was telling me a story. I did not realize until the other day that he thought kids started walking when they were 2. Like, the kids that were walking before 2 were like, wow, you guys are showing out.
You guys are doing great things.
I did not realize.
know kids, man.
Yeah, he doesn't know kids.
Like, and you don't have one yet, so.
And that is true. You don't have a kid, and I work with kids all day, every day. So I was like
even with my nieces and nephews, like it's different.
Yeah.
Currently.
Yeah.
Because it's just not like I'm not a first responder. Like, I'm an uncle.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool. But it's I've never been in from the ground up.
The ground up. Yeah. So
like, I've been there from the ground up, like in terms of their, seeing when they babies.
Yeah, but just in your household, that kind of thing. So anyway, I gave that analogy and talked about that to let you guys know that my prayer is the Bible Study Girl podcast is walking way before she becomes 2. Is the whole that was the whole point of my
I
story.
know,
Okay.
I got you. I knew you just gonna shame me to get your.
I'm not shaming you. Your journey is your journey, and I think that's the beautiful thing about the Bible Study Girl podcast. We might all start walking at different times, but the point is that eventually one day we're all gonna get up and walk. We all
some of y'all
develop
just
at
got up and
different.
started running.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We all develop at different stages, and that's one thing that I love about this podcast, because we get to highlight just where you are in your journey. There's no shame in being at a different stage in development. I mean, that's my full-time career. I help those that are
You help bring people to their full potential.
I do. I help them with their communication, feeding, swallowing, all that kind of thing. Any kind of developmental delay.
A-E-I-O.
Oh dear. Listen. I would refuse your mother if she came to me with you, because I know you and I could not deal with the ridiculousness that is you. But yeah, that is something I do in my full time. Back when people were working and stuff. Yeah, that's what I did. I'm hoping that I can get to my good stuff, my good equipment, so that I can go out and be a gainfully employed member of the community from my home with the old teletherapies.
Where did you expect us to be
in 6 months?
If you had any expectations. I didn't. I did, but they're different.
I really didn't have much expectation, honestly, because this was so far outside of my wheelhouse. Sharing is one thing for me. I think I've said this before. It's one thing for me to write something. I'm comfortable with writing, but this speaking, just in a spontaneous way, having honest conversation with you and knowing that people are going to hear it, that's a completely different thing. Because when I write it, I can sit on it. If I'm ahead of schedule with my writing, I can sit on it. I can meditate on it and say, you know what? No, I don't want to say that. I can delete that and type something else in.
Well, we're proud for backspace mentally.
I mean, it's different though, because this is like on the spot.
Oh, there's still way.
Definitely, I do edit what I say.
We autocorrect amazingly more than you're giving yourself credit for.
I do autocorrect, but it's just different. It's a different platform, and just because you can write doesn't mean that you are a great speaker.
We'll talk to them. That's a word.
Yeah. It's true. Just because you can write doesn't mean you're a great speaker, and everybody's not able to be clear. And I did not want to be
muddled,
I didn't want to be on a podcast and be rambling. I wanted it to have meaning, value, content, and context. I wanted it to be relevant and real for people. So my expectations, 6 months, I don't know. I could not imagine what the Bible Study Girl podcast has become to date.
Well, my 6 month plan was always just growth and expansion, because when I first proposed it to you, it was just because of how similar I saw our content to a lot of the things that I enjoy. And I saw how magnetic you are, how magnetic we are as a family, and how that can translate into doing things for God and just general success. How these gifts that we think are secondary are actually more primary, because we have lived under a logical sense of being, because that's our family is logic based, in the sense that you get a certain age, you work and you work. Like, you work hard, you don't complain, you don't allow somebody to disrespect you, but you work. So working in our gifts is not something that I think is naturally as easy. It does not come as easy. So when I would see all of these new platforms and these new avenues that were like, oh, this is our content. Like, this is fun. It doesn't have to be racy, or it doesn't have to be lust filled. It doesn't have to be this reflection of what the world is. It can be a reflection of who we are, and it can be enjoyed by the masses. I always knew that this would be a huge hit. mostly because we're private in a lot of different ways, and people love when private people start talking about their private matters. And there was just so much that I saw in terms of how we could use that as a beacon of spirituality. And when we finally talked and settled on the way because you came to me with the revise, because initially the plan was just, I wanted to expand on blog posts.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was like, talk about stuff that you don't really want to talk about. And that's what we did for the first couple episodes, where then you were like, well, actually, I'd like to do this. And at that point I was like, oh, she's in. Because the way you thought about it, and then like the way it parallels my own podcast, the Gray Area Anime Podcast, which you can listen to on all streaming platforms, is to bring newness or new people into things that might be difficult, to show that we're not so different. Like, right. We are, but there's power in that. There's the creativity, the uniqueness that you can bring. I just knew that there was a power in it. And I felt, and my big prayer and expectation from God is, as I will continue to say, that our gifts are going to make room for us. And they're going to make room for us in a mighty way. Whereas, we've been diligently kind of just working in the things that, okay, this is what I chose my major to be, or, with me, like, okay, I just want to make sure that I'm working and I'm not just sitting on my butt, not doing anything, versus this expansion of walking in the gifts that we've always had, but actually taking them seriously.
Right.
So planting those seeds, like when we took the step to plant this seed, because I just knew you'd be amazing. You're amazing when you get on stage. It's something that is spiritually genetically.
But can I say something to you? That is hard for me to accept, because you're my brother and you tend to lift me up because you think I'm wise and that I know things. And that is because I've trained you like that since a child, to think that I know everything. So I take your encouragement with a whole lot of salt, because
here's the
it's
difference.
One thing okay, go ahead.
I've never thought you knew everything.
You sure about that?
Let me explain.
What about that?
But
when I told you there was a squirrel in the, okay.
But here's the difference. Here's where I was believing, not so much that you knew everything, but that you were thorough.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're saying something, you can lie. Yes.
Yeah. Good.
That we all can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do say something, there's research. There's something that is involved. There's steps that were taken to get to that. Even if you're lying to me, you've meticulously done things.
This is true. I will set the trap for you.
So it still speaks to the fact that I'm going to believe you, because
I did my background.
You've done what you needed to do
to get you there,
to get wherever. That's more so what I believe in, and understood that things will be great, because I can say, well, hey, this is the information that I have about podcasts. This is what I think our podcast can do. This is why I want you to do a podcast. But coming to the realization of, let's talk about our faith walks. Where are we? Was your idea.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, okay, I see what you want to do. Let's go. Because that's where I can do what I need.
For me, there's just so much power in other people's testimonies. Like, that is what has revolutionized my faith walk. And so that's why I felt like the Bible Study Girl podcast would be a great place for other people to come on and talk about their faith and about their journeys and like where they really are, and not what just seems like the best answer, but just a real honest answer.
Just your answer.
Yeah.
Like, your answer is neither right or wrong.
It's just your answer.
We're not here to judge the answers. It's just to give the perspective. We all lack multiple perspectives,
right?
Just in a true sense. It doesn't mean you don't have empathy, because I think we can get empathy and perspective mixed up. Just because my sister can tell me what at some point, or my wife can tell me, or my mom can tell me what childbirth is like, I'll never have that perspective.
Yeah.
I have an empathy for what it is you're telling me, but the actual perspective I can't have. Because I can still be like, well, that's painful. Even if you say, well, it's comparative to a kidney stone or whatever the case you can try and compare it to, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be apples to apples.
Yeah.
It might be apples to oranges, but that's what I think we do, is allowing you to have a line of empathy, a line of perspective for your own perspective to grow, to say like you said earlier, I would have assumed, it's closer to 2.
Yeah.
But that's just because of my own personal perspective.
Yeah, that's your own walk.
Like, and even then, I didn't remember that. It's just what was told to me. So then I just took the one example that I had because I'm in the moment with everything else. Like, our God brother and God sister, I would have never put, walking and like babies I've been around. Like, this is the thing. I'm just like, oh, this is a baby. And by the time the babies came around me, they were old. They weren't the small, frail babies that me and you don't like holding. Like, you got to be able to hold up.
Can you hold up your head? If you can hold up your head, I'll hold you. There are very few babies I've held when they couldn't hold up their head. And generally, those babies were babies that were forced upon me by my friends or family. Like, no, you are going to hold my baby. Okay. Yeah, I'm weird.
I hate that.
Yeah.
No, we're both weird because I both hate it.
So I think your analogy was great when it comes to perspective. You judged everybody should walk at this age because that's when I began to walk. But this show, the Bible Study Girl podcast, is an opportunity to say, hey, we're all gonna get it at different ages. The point is, we all want us to be able to walk. We all want us to be able to walk out our journeys, and they're going to look different. There will be aspects of it that are the same, but there are definitely aspects of it that are different. And I think that's what I was missing out on as I was growing up. Like, mama would give me real perspective. We would have real talks, but she's my mom, and I needed it from more than mama. Grandma always gave me the real about everything, but she wasn't necessarily coming from a standpoint. Yeah, she wasn't coming from a standpoint of faith. Like, she was not the one I would go to for like spiritual questions. But she always gave me the real, just about life.
You didn't even know that they were spiritual answers. She didn't know that they were spiritual answers. That's the thing. Like, that's why, because we've boxed in what spiritual advice has to be.
That is very true. And we need to unbox it.
Because if you don't come with a scripture or something that is tangible for people, a lot of the times you won't get what you need to get for some people. Whereas, like, if you're telling me to be good to people, treat people how you want to be treated, like, those are still biblical principles. But sometimes we'll tie them so tightly. Like, if you can't understand a verse because that's not where you are, but you understand an eye for an eye makes us both blind, then you're still getting what you need to get.
Yeah.
And then when you get the scripture and see what that is in context or whatever the case may be, if that's even something that happens, then it's eye opening at that point. Like I told you, Samson has been told to me for years. But the realization that Samson is the perfect representation of what it is to be a teenager. Yeah. Like, would have never come to me without getting older, starting to do sermons and looking at and being asked to do things and being like, well, this is something I want to share.
And going to see that play.
Yeah.
Didn't that play blow your mind?
It blew my mind. Like I said,
because we had a whole debate. We went to go see Samson at the Sight and Sound Theater. And
I'm Bully's grandson.
Yes, he is Bully's grandson. We, went to see it for my 35th birthday. It was a family trip because that's what I like to do for fun. Anyways, we had good food on that vacation. But we went to go see the play Samson. All I ever really knew about Samson was his hair, and Delilah cut the hair off. But there were so many other things that happened in Samson's life that they highlighted in the play. And then when we got out of the play, we were all like, man, they added so much stuff to Samson's life. This is crazy. And y'all, we went and read the Bible. And then we had to come back and be like, y'all know that scene that was in the play? It's in the Bible.
Like, that actually happened. Like they weren't just filling out space to play,
But I think that is the beauty of learning and growing in Christ. Yeah. You get to,
you get to know, like, the things that you didn't think were there
They're really in the book.
Really there.
They're really in the book.
Like nothing is new under the sun, and they meant
nothing.
It,
like,
except in my,
because there was one part. You really do need to go read Samson's story. There was one part we were like, and they made up this whole storyline, but they did not. Like, it is in there. Samson's life was lit.
Listen, I'm telling y'all, he was 100% the representation of all teenagers in the world. Like, and I've often said this: you have a choice. You can walk in your purpose, or you can have your purpose walk for you.
Right.
Like, and I'm paraphrasing what I've said before because that's a completely different way of saying it that I think is more concise. But what I mean is, at the end of Samson's life, he still fulfilled the purpose that God wanted him to fulfill, but he was not a part of it.
Right.
Or in the way that he didn't get to gain the blessings that God was going to give to him by just doing what God asked him to do when he asked him to do it.
He was a lot like me. He was very rebellious and trying to do things in his own strength. And that's when we missed it. And so that is what I love about the Bible Study Girl podcast. I'm so thankful that we have made it to a 6-month anniversary. One thing that I really hope and desire is that people that listen to the podcast, that get help from it, that they would consider being on the podcast and sharing their story and not being afraid. And I do understand it can be nerve-wracking because this, again, like I said, this was completely out in my mind. It was completely out of my wheelhouse. It wasn't something that was even on my what's the word?
Radar.
Yes. I'm so proud of you. I was like, I don't think he's gonna be able to figure out what word I need. Yes, you got it. You got it, brother. But this is something that was not even on my radar, but it has blessed my soul. I've said this before in the blog, but we generally record a lot of podcasts. They don't come out as soon as we record them, so they have time to sit. And then I listen to them before they're posted. And even though I was in the room when we recorded, I was there. We had a great conversation with Bible Study Cousin. I did not remember all the jewels and gems that were dropped during that episode. And when I re-listened to it, like I listened to it twice, I was like, man, I needed this today. The things we were talking about, it was just a reminder for me of where I am and who I am and who I belong to. Like it, and not to say that's not the only episode that has done me like that. Literally every episode that I listen to, again, just brings up something new in me. And so if it's doing that for you, my hope and my prayer is that you would say, you know what, I'm going to sit down. I want to talk about my faith journey, where I am in my faith. I want to share in hopes that it helps somebody else, because they always bless me.
Because as I've always said, we are the New Testimony. We are the New Testaments of the Bible, in the sense that there was no possible way, even though Juvenile Joe believed this, that new books of the Bible should be coming out every year. Because we get to a point to where you would lose the foundational truths of the Bible. Right. Because you just be looking at my chapter started from, first Obamas down to second Trumpians. Yeah. Like, like while his mama or grandmama, y'all might have read second Bush. Like, I don't know. Like, but being the testimonies and the living, breathing word in your everyday life gives us those new testaments, because you see the actions, because the same trials and tribulations that Samson's dealt with are the same things we deal with now. It's just, absolutely, instead of it being, wine that you were never supposed to drink, it, it's probably Xanax or whatever drug or vice of choice. Right. Social media. Yeah. In certain ways, like it's different things that you can be shrouded in, because you'll say, well, they didn't have this, but they had this, which is a base thing. Like lust, for instance, doesn't change, just because
it's universal and timeless.
You had to be around somebody back then, somewhat, because I'm sure people had imaginations then.
Oh, I know they did.
But, porn in the general thing, like just because you by yourself at your house don't mean you're not lusting.
Yeah.
Or on Instagram or social media or whatever the case may be. But anyway, I said all that to say, come and talk with us, because your testament needs to be heard.
It needs to be heard.
We're all sitting in first isolations 24/7 right now,
and we need your stories. We need you. You keep the podcast moving and booming and relevant and real, because I can sit here and I can tell my stories all night and all day, and that might not necessarily hit you, but you have a story that will hit everybody or this specific group. But your words have power. So I'm so thankful that we've made it to a 6-month anniversary. My Lord and my God, like this has far exceeded any expectation I had, because I didn't have expectations.
She did not. All she knew. But the thing is, I'm thankful that you trusted God, and the fact that when I said to you we should do this, that I had a reason.
And I'm thankful that I trusted God and that I listened to the Lord, because I don't really like to listen to people. So it was Jesus.
She don't.
I don't.
But she knew what was funny. This is how I know God was in the room, because when I told you we were doing it, you normally no. You'd have been like, no. You're like, okay. Like, and I don't know why you would. Like I said, it was just God for you to just immediately be like, okay.
It was
like, okay, like I don't know what that's gonna be like, and I'm not a blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, let's just do this first episode, just talk, and we can talk about this, because that'll be something to talk about. And the first episode, I think, was us talking about our fallout. That's bad. But it's been 6 months.
It has been 6 months. I should have listened to what the first one was.
We should have actually done it. Well, I'm not the only one who doesn't read or do his research.
Listen.
I'm not the only one. I am not the only one.
Don't do this on our anniversary. Yeah. Because he does not read the Bible Study Girl blog on a regular basis.
Not daily.
No, he doesn't. Not even weekly. Even grandma's she's like, I don't read it every day. I just pick one day a week and I catch up on what I missed. Even grandma. Technology challenge grandma.
She challenged, all right.
Has a routine to read those blogs every day. So yeah, 6 months in, like I said, got that tummy time down. We're working on crawling and getting our little bodies moving so we can explore the land. And eventually, we want to be walking, we want to be talking, we want to be developing, and we want you as an audience to be developing as well. I think this has really been what?
It's funny, I forgot the first episode. It's not gonna, I don't know where it's gonna pop up, because we recorded that one before we had all of our the system, the RSS feed and stuff in place, I think.
Yeah, we did.
So
we recorded that before, but it should be on.
I was looking for it. I couldn't find
the Bible Study Girl.
My phone is being slow.
Okay, well, it's on there. I know the very first.
The trio was the second episode. So
yeah, the trio is the second episode.
What it was.
Because we did talk about our bond as a family in the first episode. I do remember that, and that is why we felt like the trio needed to get on.
That's what
to
it was.
discuss our dynamics.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So either way, we just introduced you to us.
We did. We gave you a sneak peek into the life of our family. So I'm making a broad appeal to the audience. Please come chat with us.
Yeah.
Tell us your stories. I promise it will be painless. It won't hurt.
And I promise it's just a conversation. We're very inviting and calming, and whatever information you need, we'll provide you with. Bible Study Girl is going to build a little questionnaire, kind of just what to expect when you're expecting to come on our podcast.
Like what you did there. When you're coming to hang, when you're having a play date with this baby, because we're 6 months old right now. Come have a play date with us, guys.
Shut up. Shut it up. But send all those requests. You can hit her up at _ Bible Study Girl on Instagram, at Bible Study Girl 2 on the Twitter. email us. Might be the most prominent way for you to get contact. At BibleStudyGirl2019@gmail.com. We have a Facebook page, Bible Study Girl. We also have a YouTube page that will be growing, grooving, and booming very soon because we are expanding and growing our kingdom because that is what God said. Go forth and flourish, my children.
But that thing is still in the womb.
It's in the womb.
It's in the womb.
It's not even really, well, technically.
It's in the womb. The seed has been
egg.
implanted. Yeah. It's growing.
Yeah, that is the womb.
Yeah, it's in the womb. It's not ready to come out.
We're not in gestation.
We are in gestation.
Look at me. I know the word.
God bless him. See, this is why you need to read up before you decide to make a baby. Anyways,
I'm gonna be all kinds of read it up.
I know you
read
will.
It up.
Read it up. Please be read it up.
Read it up.
We need that. We
but
need
anyway,
you to be educated. What was I was gonna say something else. I forgot.
About the people and giving us their testimonies, coming onto the Bible Study Girl podcast.
No, we already covered that.
How thankful you are for them.
I'm so thankful. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. And if no one else is listening, we know Bible Study Mama is. So special shout out. She's our first official guest on the podcast. She was our first guest.
She was our first official guest. Oh, yeah. I was talking about like in terms of the all-star squad of listeners. It's her and shout out.
Shout out to everyone that is a faithful listener that makes it a point on Saturday mornings to listen to the newly released Bible Study Girl podcast.
We appreciate you.
We do. We love to get your feedback. We love when you comment, even if it's not publicly on the page. We love to get the feedback from you guys because it encourages us. It lets us know that we're on the right track. It lets us know if we've gotten off track a little bit because people are very vocal with their opinions. We appreciate it all, though.
Yes. Shout out from our baby to the baby.
Way. This is us. No. At 6 months, we're like, oopada, oopada, gagalabanamanti.
Why are you talking like a sim?
I'm a baby. I'm goo goo gaga.
And remember that it is not I preach. It's not you preach. It's not he preach. It's not she preach. It's we preach.
And until we meet again, guys, keep preaching. It's our anniversary. Yeah.
I can't stand you. Bye, y'all.
You love me. And we love you. I love you.
Bye.